More than 5 years after the privatization of the nation's power sector, the 6th-generation companies, the 11 distribution companies, and the transmission company of Nigeria are still grappling with one of the oldest problems in the sector: poor infrastructure. My guest is from the Nigerian Institution of Power Engineers. Well, Engineer Israel Abraham, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for receiving me.
Well, let's talk about the lingering crisis in the power sector. You know, the distribution companies, the GENCOs, and the TCN, they've always engaged in this blame game, and we're wondering, who is who is the weak link, among them? Why do we have this, lingering for such a long time?
The weak link actually is relative, but we will just say at the final analysis, we still say the distribution for now. But virtually the whole structure has a lot of things to do to actually up the game, to make it work. But in the final analysis, at least the most visible part at this moment, is just from the distribution end. And that is because the network which they have are not being upgraded. A lot of upgrading needs to be done. A lot of new network need to be created or need to be reconstructed, and all sorts of things to be able to carry out back to the consumers, because they are actually meet up with the consumers, that is the customers,
yes,
the public. So if the network is not there to actually carry out receive power and then distribute to these groups, so the average Nigerian, as far as is concerned, has no supply or has no power in his house or in his facility. So that's just the main problem.
In 2013, if I recall, the federal government actually gave up the power sector to the private sector.
Yeah.
And we thought at that point that this is the solution. This will be a lasting solution to Nigeria's power crisis. But as we speak, I don't know if we've taken several steps backwards and how many steps forward.
What actually happened is this: the federal government actually maybe intended to actually privatize. But in reality, I would not want to agree that the system or the Nigerian power industry will be privatized. It's not, in the sense that government owns a substantial share of all across board, especially the distribution and the transmission group. So that makes government kind of very much involved in the entire process. Virtually every blame goes back to them, because each time the regulator is supposed to enforce the rules, it's like you are trying to regulate yourself. Take example, the distribution company makes one mistake or refuses to carry out an action, and you want to penalize or you want to give some kind of sanctions. What do? You want to talk to a man that is also owned by you. Who are you talking to? You're speaking to yourself. So that is actually the problem. So government actually did not privatize this sector. It's actually give it to some few persons who hold it in trust, while standing as part owners, and those people see it as their own, part of their own share of the cake.
So apparently there's a fundamental disconnect, in that privatization plan.
Yeah.
What is the way forward? Has this been discussed in any way?
There have been thousands of stakeholders meet and all the rest. So a lot of discussions goes on all the time. The real issue is government putting down its feet.
Discussed amongst you guys, the engineers. How do you guys hope to strategize to help the situation?
Well, as engineers, we have two major rules. The first thing is get the system to work perfectly, which is our major role. Then the next is to advocate. Make a lot of advocacy, get these stakeholders, let them understand that this is the way to do, and get them to understand and buy in.
Have you been successful with all this?
We've not been too successful, but that we have not tried. But like I said, the government is the most important person you should convince, because if you can get government to understand that you need to make this work, then you are home and dry. But if you cannot get government to understand it as it stands today, the government is here to pick up that. I just want to give you an instance. The distribution companies, for instance, have as part of their board members government appointees. So if you are talking to a man, which you are a member of the board, who are you speaking to? This is where the real cross of the problem is. So the supply is not meeting up with, the Nigerian population is not receiving this power because the distribution companies that ought to carry out their own function, their own leg of ensuring that these things are delivered, refuse to even invest invest into this network to get it working. Because if the network are strong enough, then you can have supply. Because whatever little that is coming out from the generation companies or that is able to be wheeled by a transmission group can now be fully distributed, and then we can now begin to think back, oh, transmission company, please upgrade your system to even bring in more. Then generation, okay, open more capacity to generate more. But at the moment, even the little you have is not getting down. So a lot of bottlenecks.
You see, Nigeria has suffered a lot of system collapse, over the years, according to the Transmission Company of Nigeria. As a matter of fact, I think we have about 98 collapses between November 2013 and February this year, that's 2019. And the data added that, what we discovered is that by the first half of 2019, which we have just, left, there's been 6 system collapses. What is going on?
In managing the system itself, a lot of things comes to play. One of it is the kind of market forces, demand and supply. So if you cannot take away what I'm giving you, then I have to find a way of dropping it backward. So the transmission group who are in the middle, main job is to see that they can get enough from the generation and push it to the generation to use. It's just not taking it, or there's no way to distribute it, they have to take it back and ensure that maybe power is not stored. I'm sure you know that.
Yes.
So if you cannot store it, you can only manage as well. And so in between your managing of those something, if there's any problem, we can have maybe a line trip, and if you have a major line trip, it could cause a spiral, and that eventually can cause a collapse. You
paint a very gloomy picture. Are you of the opinion, alongside others who believe that distribution companies are technically bankrupt or incapable of delivering at all?
I want to see it on two sides. I want to see it partially, yes, but also the fact that they see themselves as overfed babies.
What do you mean by that?
Overfed babies in the sense that they know that the government cannot talk to them. Yeah.
Why is that?
Because, like I told you, you own them. So they see you as, if you want to talk to me, you are part of me. So why are you blaming me? So they are fed babies, and it's like if you pet them too much, you can't do anything to them.
Do you see any solution, whether in the short,
yes,
long term, or middle?
Yes, the solution. The president must be very, very emphatic and put his feet down. He must be a president and see that this is an industry that takes the destiny of all Nigerians along with it. Because the entire world today is on energy economy. I mean, you don't do anything without power. So if that is the case, you must go back and sort this thing out. And those who sort it out, you know who they are. But you refuse to even acknowledge who they are. So the problem is multifarious. You have even the administrators of the government not even willing to even bring in the right people to say, handle this thing for me. And even when you try to even do that, the next thing is that it's not even willing to enforce it because it sees itself as part of the issue. And when you say, move out, privatize it completely, allow the Nigerian people own these shares. You and I and everybody should own the shares. So
with the baby steps you're taking, do you see any light at the end of the tunnel?
Of course. We believe that all these stakeholders meetings and discussion and so on, the government will yield in, and we're about to come out of it. But that is also conditional now. The government have to. If it doesn't, I mean, you go nowhere.
Well, we must thank you very much, Engineer Israel Abraham, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for staying with us. We'd like to hear from residents of the nation's capital about the incidences of open defecation in your area. Please feel free to send your pictures, views and comments using the email address and Twitter handles on your screen. Also, be sure to share anything happening within your locality. You may watch any episode of the program on YouTube. Thank you for watching this week. I'm Gloria Umezuki. See you again.